EcoArts TV, EcoArts TV, EcoArts TV, EcoArts TV.
Brought to you by Parachute Arts.
Hey everyone, welcome to EcoArts class. I'm Ms. M, your EcoArts teacher, and today we're going to be creating superheroes that can tackle the world's most challenging problems. No one will ever know you are a superhero if you are not dressed the part. Think for a second about Superman. When Superman is wearing normal clothes, he's just Clark Kent. Nobody recognizes him. But once he puts his costume on, everybody knows that he is out to save the world. So, every single costume, everything that you wear started somewhere, and usually that's with a designer, and they normally start with what is called a croquis. A croquis is just a rough sketch of a model, and then from there, they go ahead and design clothes on the model that are, of course, then going to be made later. We are also going to be thinking about what kind of materials we would want our costume or our outfit to be made of. Today, almost anything is possible. So later, when we make our swatch, which is simply a small sample in the corner of your croquis that tells the designer, what is your superhero cape actually going to be made of, right? What is your superhero dress or superhero pants going to be made of? Are they going to be made of recycled plastic straws? Are they going to be made out of old napkins or newspapers or things you have lying on around your house? Ribbons, things that are going to waste, things maybe that you don't want anymore, or something awesome from outside like bamboo that might be growing on the side of the yard. So we'll have the chance to go hunting today in our houses for some fun things that we can imagine turning into fabric. So we're not actually going to be making fabric today. Wouldn't that be cool? Today we're simply going to be using our imaginations. And instead of making fabric, we're going to be imagining the best superpower we can think of to tackle today's problems. And then, of course, we're going to be drawing and creating this awesome superhero and a swatch. But your smartest superhero, they're going to want to think before they do. So before we get too caught up in what our superhero is going to be wearing, we need to think really hard about what kind of problems our superheroes today are going to be solving. So what exactly are some of these problems? Well, first of all, 85% of our fabrics actually end up in the landfill every single year. That's right. And a lot of the fabrics that are man-made actually break down into little tiny microplastics. Even in the laundry sometimes, there are little fibers that end up in our oceans and rivers called microplastics. And they're the equivalent of 50 billion plastic water bottles going into our waterways every single year. Not good. That's not all though. Believe it or not, the fashion industry actually is responsible for 8% of our total greenhouse gases here on our planet. That's more than all international flights and shipping combined. No! We need superheroes! If you remember, greenhouse gases are those gases that are heating our planet. In other words, they're slowly changing our weather pattern. On average, a pair of jeans and a t-shirt requires 3,000 to 5,000 gallons of water to create. Not to mention, a lot of factories actually put their dyes and chemicals into oceans, rivers, and streams to get rid of them. So as you can see, there are a lot of problems to solve. I think we need some superheroes. Superheroes check their clothing fiber. Fiber is a long, thin thread of material. Fabric can be made of natural or unnatural fiber or a mix of both. Natural fabric is woven together from plant or animal fibers like cashmere from goats, cotton, bamboo, wool from sheep, silk, hair and fur from different animals, leather, and all kinds of plants. There are many ways of farming these different materials, and some are much better than others for our health and for the health of animals and our environment. Thousands of miles away in Guatemala, Joanna Engelberg from the New Denim Project takes jean scraps and turns them into a soft blue fabric for her designs. Artist Phil Ross even uses mushroom skins to make clothing. Man-made fabric is usually made using different chemicals. Polyester is recyclable forever, meaning its fibers can always be recycled into new fabric. This is a great idea, but isn't perfect, because don't forget about those pesky plastic microfibers that often end up in our water. Believe it or not, you can clean plastic water bottles and turn them into fabric. Adidas even makes shoes from ocean plastic. When it's raining, you may wear a waterproof jacket. This is made from man-made fabric too. A chemist in 1823 invented waterproof clothing. The Macintosh raincoat, created from the new fabric, was actually named after him. Skateboarder Louis Sorovsky has made a handmade suit made of old VHS tape, a great example of man-made materials getting used over and over again.
Now let's make some art, shall we?
Yes!
And to get started today, you are mainly just going to need a pencil and paper. You will probably want some glue if you're going to do the swatch portion of this activity. Those three things are the most important, and if you have any crayons or colored pencils or markers, those would also be welcome, as well as paints. If you're one of our younger students, you will want to locate the template that gets you started so you don't have to start completely from scratch. So as you can see, we have our paper here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a border all the way around it very lightly with our pencil so that we know not to draw there. And in order to get just a consistent border, I'm actually going to look at the size of my finger, and I'm going to make some little dashes around my page, right? And I'm actually going to connect those dashes. So my border is going to go around here. Now, if you want to use a ruler, you can totally use a ruler. Normally my lines would be a little bit steadier, but I'm standing up so you can see the page nicely. So here I'm just connecting those. And I'm going to free draw this one. But you can use dots, you can use lines. If you want, you can sort of trace your finger all the way around. But the point is there's a border around the whole thing showing us where we're not going to draw. We're not going to be drawing up here. And of course, if you don't like your lines, you can erase them. That's the great thing about pencil. You can make them a little bit cleaner or go back with the ruler later even. Next step is we're going to divide our paper into two parts. So imagine a line going halfway where this side is equal to this side. And we're going to draw a line very lightly, not even as hard as our border, just a light line so we know about where that halfway mark is. Now our next step, some of you can see my line, some of you can't, but it's there, I promise. The next step is we're going to take our thumb, and our thumb is going to go right on our border in the middle. See where these lines come together? That is where my thumb is going to go. Now I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to make a dot where the bottom of my thumb is. Boom. You see that dot right there? That dot's going to help me in a couple minutes when I draw my face, because we are drawing a model here. Our model is going to be wearing our superhero clothing. Now, the second dot I draw is going to be half the size of my thumb. So if my thumb size is here, half of a thumb is going to be more like here. And here I have my next dot. This is actually where the neck is going to go. So if you want to go ahead and draw your head and neck, you can add a nice oval there, followed by two lines coming down. Now, if you want, your lines can be really straight, and you can maybe change them a little bit later, depending on who you think you're drawing, if they might have a curved neck. But the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take that thumb, we're going to do 7 more dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So see where this dot is? I'm going to put my thumb right in line there, and I'm going to measure 1 thumb distance to the next dot. That's 1. 7. That is a tall model, let me tell you. So next step is I'm actually going to create the hips and the shoulders. These are just going to be lines for now. They can be straight lines or they can even be angled lines. For the sake of this example, we're going to keep it really simple. And we're just going to draw a line across, right? So here's the neck, here's the top of the shoulders. One line goes here, touching this dot here. and then you skip one, and then you have hips here. Now these should be about the same size. So you have one line here through your second dot, and one line here through your 1, 2, 3, fourth dot. And these are the same size. You see that? So now we're gonna make basically a box. That box represents the chest and the ribs of our model here. So you're just gonna connect these lines. This is just the general shape of a person that we're drawing right now. This represents the bottom of the feet, that number 7 dot. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The number 9 dot represents the bottom of the feet. So you're gonna take the hips and you're actually gonna connect them to the feet here. It's gonna look a little funny, like a triangle. Okay? So now we have the basic form of a human body. You might want to add another triangle. Maybe one of these legs is actually walking. If that's the case, and you want to do something more advanced, you can draw a dot over here, and maybe this hip is connecting there. Believe it or not, you can turn that into a leg. But I'm going to keep this really simple, and I'm not going to have my legs crossing at all. I'm just going to have my legs totally normal, facing down. Now it's time to draw the arms. We have to think about where the hands are gonna come. Now, if these are my knees here, do you think my hands come all the way to my knees? Think about that for a second. Do your fingertips reach your knees? Probably not. They probably come somewhere about here. So you might wanna draw a little dotted line here so you know your hands are gonna come about here. And so where your hands are, you can draw a little shape for your wrist. It's a little oval or circle, and you can draw a little circle for your shoulders as well. This is where the arm is going to go. The arm connects the shoulder all the way down to the wrist. So you can decide if you want your arm to be bending or not. Again, I'm doing a very simple version, so mine is not going to be bending. I am just going to connect my arm just like that. And of course there's an elbow here. So if it helps you to draw another circle, you can see that there's an elbow here. That is the shape of an arm, and I'm gonna do that the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna connect the circle from my shoulder and the circle from my wrist that's halfway between my knees and my hips here. Now I'm starting a little bit below the shoulder here. I'm gonna add some little hands here, just very general. They're gonna look a little bit like gloves for now. Maybe my superhero will be wearing gloves. Next step is we can think about erasing some of these lines here that we don't need anymore, right? We needed these to get started, but we don't need them anymore. Now we have a human figure here. So you can erase your dots and your line up the center of the body. And even some of these little circles here that helped you to think about where your shoulders go and where your wrists go. Now I have a blank model for fashion. So let's think. What do I want my model to be wearing? So if you want to draw some feet, now might be the time to think about what your legs are doing. I might have this foot slightly in front of the other, and I can think about maybe some cool tennis shoes that I might want to draw. And if this leg's a little bit behind, I might have the foot coming out over here. Maybe like they're walking. Now I'm going to start thinking about what I want my superhero to be wearing. How normal do I want this costume to look? Well, I think it'd be fun for him to have armbands, and I might want to color him in later. It's your choice if you want to leave it as a sketch or if you want to color later. I think a really fun collar would be nice. Now let me think, what is my superpower? Think about what your superpower is for your croquis, because depending on what kind of superhero power they have, you're going to want to draw it differently. So maybe my superhero power is to take all the jeans in the whole world and turn them into new jeans. Instant transformation. Old jeans to new jeans instantly. Feel free to try out some block letters. My superhero is going to be called Jeannie. And I think Jeannie is going to have some super cool jeans on with lots of different patches from all the different jeans from all over the world. Now, I might also want to think about what I have in my house right now that could make really cool fabric. Little patches of jeans everywhere. Now, one of our featured artists today is Joanna Engelberg, who in fact takes old jeans and spins them into new cotton in order to make new jeans. The project is called the New Denim Project. And again, that's Joanna Engelberg. Speaking of fabrics, when we make a croquis, we need to let the designer know what it is that we're making it out of. So here in the corner, we're gonna make a little square, and we're gonna call that a swatch. A swatch is basically a sample of material that we intend to use for our superhero costume. So because mine is old jeans, I am going to just draw what old jeans would look like, but if you have a pair of old jeans around your house, you might actually cut a little piece off if you have some scissors, and you might actually glue it onto here. So I'm gonna write fabric, old jeans. Our other featured artist is Louise Sarovsky. So in this swatch, I'm going to think about using an old VHS tape as if I unwound it and stuck it on right here, because I don't have any on hand right now. If you've ever seen a VHS tape, nobody watches tapes anymore. These things just go straight into the trash. But you can actually be like Louise Sarovsky, and you can make really cool fabric out of old VHS tapes. Now maybe think about hitting pause right now and look around your house to see if you have anything super cool that's going to waste that you might be able to turn into an awesome costume. Some of you might need to look really far to find just the right thing. I know! All the abandoned couches from the entire world. As you can see in one of my examples, I actually took real flowers because I thought it would be cool to use real flowers on this dress. And I took real scrap paper. Of course, these look like flowers, but they're just cardboard paper that were lying around my house. They were old cards, old fun birthday cards and thank you cards. And I glued them onto my swatch. So you can have as many swatches as you want. Swatches are just samples of the type of fabric that you are going to use on your beautiful design. Of course, my superhero name here is Primavera. Her superpower is that she makes flowers bloom wherever she goes. And of course, if you have time, please do color her in. Color in your superhero, whether that's with paint or marker, or if you have colored pencils or crayons, or feel free to add more and more detail with your pencil. My other example here uses old bottle caps and straws, and also some fiber from old instruction manuals here. You can see this is just an old instruction manual, and why not turn that into a cape? Because this guy's superpower is turning trash into capes for everyone. I haven't named him yet. What do you think I should name him? So don't be shy in adding some features here if you want your supermodel, superhuman, superhero to be smiling. Now is the time to make them smile. You can add their eyes here if you want. Maybe they're smiling, laughing. You can think about what you want their hair to be doing as well. Now, if I want Jeannie's shirt to look a little differently than the box, you know, maybe it comes in a little bit. Boom. We've got Jeannie here. A lot of superheroes have capes, so don't be shy if you want to add something that looks like a cape coming down. But don't forget to think about what your cape might be made of. In fact, maybe we need another type of material here that I have yet to find around my house. And that's how you create a well-dressed superhero that's going to take on the world.
but you fill me when I'm already.
Thank you for joining us at EcoArts class today. Whatever your approach was and what you dressed your superhero in, we hope your superhero looks super awesome.
I've got to give a speech for you to just understand. Now
And the optional extra credit might include finding a nice model for your design.
I